The stage was set for what was supposed to be a glamorous and lighthearted evening. Tom Cruise, the Hollywood superstar known for his daring stunts and magnetic screen presence, walked onto the set of one of America's favorite late-night talk shows. Dressed in a sharp suit, he flashed his trademark smile as the audience erupted into applause. He had come to promote his latest action-packed blockbuster, a film that promised to deliver jaw-dropping thrills and heart-pounding excitement. But little did anyone know this night would take an unexpected turn. As Cruise settled into his seat, the host made an announcement that sent a ripple through the crowd. "We have another very special guest joining us tonight," the host said with a mischievous grin. The camera panned to reveal none other than Elon Musk, the eccentric billionaire behind Tesla and SpaceX. Musk strode onto the stage, waving casually at the audience while holding a cup of coffee. The energy in the room shifted instantly. Two larger-than-life personalities were now sharing the spotlight, and everyone could sense it was going to be an unforgettable conversation. Cruise leaned back in his chair, trying to appear relaxed, but there was a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. He had heard about Musk's reputation for being unpredictable, but he didn't think much of it. After all, this was live television. What could possibly go wrong? The host kicked things off by asking Musk about his recent achievements in space exploration. Musk launched into an enthusiastic explanation of how humanity was on the brink of becoming a multi-planetary species. "Imagine living on Mars," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "It's not just science fiction anymore. It's our future." The audience clapped enthusiastically, clearly captivated by Musk's vision. Cruise chimed in, jokingly saying, "Well, if you need someone to star in the first Martian movie, I'm your guy." The comment drew laughter, and for a moment everything seemed fine. However, Musk didn't miss a beat. With a sly smirk, he replied, "Actually, we might not even need actors for that. With CGI and AI, we can create performances that are indistinguishable from real life." The remark hung in the air, and the playful tone of the conversation began to shift. Cruise raised an eyebrow, unsure whether Musk was serious or just teasing. Sensing an opportunity to steer things back toward positivity, he responded, "There's something about human connection that no machine can replicate. That's why movies will always matter." But Musk wasn't done yet. Leaning forward slightly, he added, "Sure for now, but technology evolves faster than you'd think. Who knows? Maybe one day people won't care if it's Tom Cruise or a robot doing those stunts." The comment struck a nerve. Cruise forced a polite smile, but his body language betrayed his discomfort. He glanced at the host, who looked equally uneasy, caught between two giants with clashing egos. Meanwhile, the audience seemed torn. Some chuckled nervously, while others exchanged glances, sensing that this exchange was heading into uncharted territory. What started as a routine promotional appearance was quickly turning into something far more intense. And as the minutes ticked by, it became clear that neither man was willing to back down. As the conversation continued, the playful banter between Tom Cruise and Elon Musk began to take on a sharper edge. Musk's comments about technology replacing actors weren't just provocative. They felt like a direct challenge to everything Cruise stood for. For decades, Cruise had built his career on performing his own death-defying stunts, refusing to rely on CGI or body doubles. It was this commitment to authenticity that made him a legend in Hollywood. But now, sitting across from Musk, he found himself defending not just his work but the entire art of filmmaking. Musk leaned back in his chair, sipping his coffee casually, as if unaware of the tension building in the room. "Think about it," he said with a shrug. "Why risk life and limb when we can simulate anything? Drones, robots, AI, they're faster, cheaper, and safer. Plus, they don't age." The audience let out a nervous laugh, unsure whether to applaud Musk's boldness or feel uneasy about his dismissive tone. Cruise's jaw tightened slightly, though he tried to keep his expression neutral. The host, sensing the growing friction, attempted to lighten the mood. "Well, I think most people would still rather watch Tom hanging off a plane than a drone doing the same thing, right?" He joked, looking to the crowd for support. There were scattered cheers, but the energy in the room had shifted. Cruise nodded politely at the host's attempt to mediate, but turned his attention back to Musk. "You know," Cruz began, his voice calm but firm, "there's more to movies than just spectacle. It's about emotion, connection, and telling stories that resonate with people. A robot can't cry real tears or feel pain. Those moments are what make cinema powerful." His words carried weight, and for a brief moment it seemed like he might have scored a point. The audience murmured in agreement, clearly siding with the actor. But Musk wasn't fazed. Instead, he doubled down, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Emotion can be programmed too," he countered smoothly. "We already have algorithms that can analyze human behavior and replicate it perfectly. In 10 years, you won't be able to tell the difference between a human performance and one created by AI. He paused for dramatic effect before adding, "And honestly, why does it matter as long as the audience enjoys it?" Cruz blinked, momentarily caught off guard. He hadn't expected Musk to push the argument so far. The billionaire wasn't just questioning his methods, he was challenging the very essence of what made acting meaningful. Feeling the pressure, Cruz decided to strike back. "Maybe machines can mimic emotions, but they can't understand them," he shot back. "Acting isn't just about pretending. It's about living through experiences and sharing them with others. That's something no algorithm can replicate." For a split second, the room fell silent. The audience seemed torn between admiration for Cruz's passion and fascination with Musk's futuristic vision. Even the host looked unsure of how to proceed, glancing nervously between the two men. Musk smirked, clearly enjoying the debate. "Fair point," he conceded lightly, though his tone suggested he wasn't convinced. "But progress waits for no one. Whether you like it or not, the world is changing." Cruz opened his mouth to respond, but before he could say anything, Musk dropped another bombshell. "By the way," he said casually, "I've always wondered, how do your beliefs about the future align with, say, some of the ideas promoted by Scientology?" The question hit like a thunderclap. The audience gasped audibly, and even the host froze, unsure of how to react. Cruz's face darkened immediately. This wasn't just professional criticism anymore. It was personal. The once friendly atmosphere dissolved completely as Cruz leaned forward, his earlier composure slipping away. "That's not relevant to this discussion," he said sharply, his voice rising slightly. Musk raised his hands in mock surrender, but there was a glint of satisfaction in his eyes. He had struck a nerve, and everyone in the room knew it. What started as a harmless interview had spiraled into a full-blown clash of egos, leaving both men and the audience on edge. The tension in the room was palpable as Elon Musk's offhand comment about Scientology hung in the air. Tom Cruise, who had always been fiercely private about his religious beliefs, looked like he'd just been blindsided. His jaw clenched, and for a moment it seemed as though he might walk off the stage altogether. The audience, sensing the gravity of the situation, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Even the host, usually quick with a quip to ease awkward moments, was at a loss for words. Musk, however, appeared unfazed. Sitting casually in his chair, he sipped his coffee and gave a slight shrug, as if daring Cruz to respond. "I'm just curious," Musk said, his tone light but tinged with provocation. "You've built this incredible career on pushing boundaries, literally flying jets and climbing mountains. But how does that align with some of the more unconventional views tied to your faith? Isn't that kind of contradictory?" Cruz's face flushed red and his voice took on an edge that hadn't been there before. "My personal beliefs are none of your business," he snapped, leaning forward in his seat, "and they certainly don't have anything to do with what we're talking about here tonight." His words were sharp, but there was a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. It was clear that Musk had struck a nerve, one that went deeper than just professional pride. But Musk wasn't done yet. With a smirk, he pressed further. "Oh, come on, Tom. You're a public figure. People are curious. Besides, isn't exploring new ideas part of what drives progress? Maybe you should embrace the conversation instead of shutting it down." At this point, the audience didn't know whether to gasp, cheer, or stay silent. Some clapped hesitantly, unsure which side to root for, while others exchanged uneasy glances. The host finally found his voice, stammering out a weak attempt to steer the conversation back on track. "Guys, let's not get too sidetracked here," he began. But neither man paid him any attention. Cruz leaned back in his chair, taking a deep breath as if trying to compose himself. When he spoke again, his tone was calmer but carried an undercurrent of simmering anger. "Look, Elon," he said, locking eyes with Musk. "You can sit there and talk all day about machines and algorithms and whatever futuristic world you're dreaming up, but none of that changes one simple fact. People want authenticity. They want to see real human beings telling real stories, not robots programmed to mimic emotions." Musk raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed by the rebuttal. "Authenticity is overrated," he shot back coolly. "Humans make mistakes. They're inconsistent. Machines, on the other hand, are precise, reliable. Why settle for imperfection when you can have perfection?" The room seemed to shrink as the two men stared each other down, their mutual respect eroding with every passing second. Cruz shook his head slowly, his frustration bubbling over. "That's where you're wrong," he said, his voice rising, slightly. "Imperfection is what makes us human. It's what connects us. Your so-called perfection might be impressive, but it's soulless. And without soul, there's no story worth telling." For a brief moment, Musk looked genuinely surprised by the intensity of Cruz's response. But then, almost imperceptibly, a smirk crept back onto his face. "Soulless?" he repeated, leaning forward. "Tell me, Tom, when was the last time you saw a soul save someone's life? Technology saves lives every single day. Which one do you think matters more in the long run?" The audience erupted into murmurs, torn between admiration for Cruz's passionate defense of humanity and fascination with Musk's cold, calculated logic. The host tried once more to intervene, but his feeble attempts to lighten the mood fell flat. By now, the interview had completely derailed, morphing into a heated debate that felt less like entertainment and more like a clash of ideologies. As the minutes ticked by, it became clear that neither man was willing to concede. Cruz's knuckles were white as he gripped the armrests of his chair, while Musk sat relaxed, exuding confidence. The live audience watched in stunned silence, witnessing a battle of egos unlike anything they'd ever seen before. What had started as a routine late-night appearance had spiraled into something far more explosive, and there was no telling where it would end. Within moments of the heated exchange airing, clips of the explosive confrontation began flooding social media platforms. Viewers who had been watching live couldn't resist hitting record on their phones or taking screenshots, capturing every biting remark and tense reaction. The internet erupted almost instantly, with fans and critics alike dissecting every word spoken by Tom Cruise and Elon Musk. Hashtags like Twitter Cruise vs Musk, Live TV Showdown, and Tech vs Hollywood started trending worldwide, dominating timelines across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. On Twitter, memes surfaced faster than anyone could keep up. One popular image showed Cruz mid-sentence, his face red with frustration, alongside the caption, "When someone questions your entire career in under 60 seconds." Another meme featured Musk sipping coffee with the text, "Casually destroying Hollywood legend since 2023. People shared these posts furiously, adding their own commentary and opinions. Some praised Cruz for standing his ground, calling him a defender of art and authenticity. Others cheered for Musk, hailing him as a visionary unafraid to challenge outdated norms. The divide was clear. Fans were picking sides, and the debate only grew louder. Instagram users posted short video clips from the interview, often editing them to highlight the most dramatic moments. One clip showed Cruz leaning forward angrily, his voice rising as he defended human emotion, while another zoomed in on Musk's smug expression during his rebuttal about technology. These snippets were accompanied by captions ranging from humorous quips, "This is better than any movie," to more serious reflections, "Is AI really going to replace actors? Scary thought." Influencers jumped into the fray, creating content analyzing the clash and speculating about its implications for both industries. TikTok creators took things even further, turning the incident into comedic sketches and skits. Some impersonated Cruise, mimicking his intense delivery while arguing over CGI robots. Others played Musk, casually sipping coffee and dropping mind-blowing statements about the future. Background music amplified the drama, making the whole situation feel larger than life. A few creators even attempted to mediate the argument themselves, pretending to host a follow-up interview where they tried to reconcile the two titans. Their videos racked up millions of views, fueling the frenzy even more. YouTube wasn't far behind, with reaction channels uploading lengthy breakdowns of the showdown. Commentators analyzed body language, tone, and subtext, offering theories about why the conversation escalated so quickly. Some argued that Musk intentionally baited Cruise to generate buzz for his companies, pointing out how perfectly timed the comments about Scientology and AI seemed. Others focused on Cruise's passionate defense of storytelling, framing him as a guardian of tradition in an increasingly tech-driven world. These videos sparked endless discussions in the comments section, with viewers passionately debating who came out on top. Even late-night comedians weighed in, dedicating entire segments of their shows to the incident. One host joked, "Tom Cruise walked onto that stage thinking it was just another promo gig, and ended up in a philosophical cage match with Elon Musk." Another comedian quipped, "If this is what happens when you put a movie star and a tech genius together, maybe we should start booking them for pay-per-view events." As hours passed, the story continued to dominate headlines around the globe. News outlets published articles dissecting the fallout, interviewing experts in entertainment and technology to weigh in on the debate. Entertainment magazines ran features titled, "Did Elon Musk just declare war on Hollywood?" While tech blogs posed questions like, "Will AI really replace actors? Musk versus Cruise says yes." By morning, the confrontation had become a cultural phenomenon. It was no longer just about two high-profile figures clashing. It was a symbol of the broader tension between old-school creativity and futuristic innovation. And as people scrolled through their feeds, sharing memes, posting reactions, and debating endlessly, one thing was certain: neither Tom Cruise nor Elon Musk would be forgotten anytime soon. The morning after the explosive interview, Tom Cruise woke up to a firestorm. News outlets had already dissected every second of the live TV showdown, and the headlines weren't kind. "Cruise loses cool in heated debate with Musk," read EO, one prominent article accompanied by a photo of Cruise mid-sentence, his expression intense and unguarded. Another headline declared, "Is Hollywood outdated? Musk calls out Cruise on live TV." For an actor who prided himself on maintaining a polished public image, the scrutiny felt like a gut punch. Critics were quick to pile on, labeling Cruise as defensive and out of touch. Late-night talk show hosts joked about how the usually unflappable star seemed rattled by Musk's relentless provocations. Some industry insiders even suggested that Cruise's reaction proved Musk's point, that traditional Hollywood values were becoming irrelevant in a rapidly evolving world dominated by technology. Social media wasn't much kinder. While some fans defended him, others mocked his apparent inability to handle criticism. Memes circulated showing Cruise looking flustered alongside captions like, "When your stunt double is about to be replaced by a drone." Behind the scenes, Cruise's team scrambled to mitigate the damage. Publicists worked overtime drafting statements and strategizing ways to reframe the narrative. They knew they couldn't ignore the situation. It was everywhere. But they also understood that overreacting could make things worse. In a carefully worded press release, Cruise's representatives emphasized his passion for storytelling and commitment to pushing boundaries in filmmaking. They framed the argument with Musk as a momentary lapse under pressure, not a reflection of Cruise's professionalism or dedication to his craft. Meanwhile, Elon Musk seemed to thrive in the chaos. True to form, he wasted no time capitalizing on the attention. Within hours of the interview, he took to Twitter, posting cryptic yet provocative messages that kept people talking. "The future doesn't wait for anyone, not even action heroes," he tweeted, followed by a winking emoji. The post garnered hundreds of thousands of likes and retweets, sparking another wave of online chatter. Later, he added fuel to the fire with a thread about how AI-driven entertainment would revolutionize the industry within the next decade. "Imagine movies where you choose the ending," he wrote. or where every scene feels real because this isn't science fiction, it's coming sooner than you think. Musk's SpaceX team reportedly celebrated the spike in interest their boss had generated. Traffic to their website surged as curious viewers researched Musk's space ventures, eager to learn more about the man behind the bold claims. Investors and tech enthusiasts buzzed with excitement, discussing the potential applications of Musk's ideas in entertainment and beyond. To them, the controversy only reinforced Musk's status as a forward-thinking disruptor, a modern-day genius unafraid to challenge the status quo. Back in Hollywood, whispers began circulating about whether the incident might hurt Cruise's upcoming projects. Studios grew nervous, wondering if audiences would view him differently after seeing him lose his composure so publicly. Executives debated whether to distance themselves from the fallout or embrace it as free publicity. Cruise himself remained largely silent, at least initially, focusing instead on preparing for his next big role. But privately, those close to him say he was deeply affected by the backlash. Known for being fiercely competitive and protective of his legacy, Cruise reportedly spent hours replaying the interview in his mind, analyzing what went wrong and how he could reclaim control of the narrative. As days passed, the media frenzy showed no signs of slowing down. Pundits continued debating whether Musk's comments were justified or unnecessarily harsh, while cultural critics weighed in on the broader implications of the clash. Was this just a personal spat between two larger-than-life personalities, or did it signal a deeper existential crisis for creative industries? For now, there were more questions than answers, and both men remained at the center of the storm, their reputations hanging precariously in the balance. A week after the dust had settled, or at least as much as it could in the age of social media, Tom Cruise decided to address the incident head-on. In a carefully crafted video posted to his verified social media accounts, he appeared alone, seated in a simple yet professional setting. A dimly lit room with soft lighting that highlighted his calm demeanor. Dressed casually but neatly in a black shirt, he looked directly into the camera, exuding sincerity and vulnerability. "Hey everyone," he began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. "I know there's been a lot of talk about what happened on that show last week, and I want to take a moment to clear the air." He paused briefly, collecting his thoughts before continuing. "First off, I want to say that I'm human, just like anyone else. When someone challenges something you've dedicated your entire life to, something you believe in deeply, it's hard not to react. That night I let my emotions get the better of me, and for that, I apologize." The audience leaned in, captivated by the rare glimpse of humility from a man known for his unshakable confidence. Cruise went on to explain why Musk's comments had struck such a nerve. What Elon said about technology replacing actors, well, it hit close to home. Acting isn't just a job for me. It's a way of connecting with people. It's about telling stories that make us laugh, cry, or think differently about the world. Those moments, the ones where we feel something real, they matter. They remind us of our humanity. He leaned forward slightly, his tone more passionate now. "I'm not against progress. Far from it. But I do believe that no matter how advanced technology becomes, nothing can replace the power of human connection. A robot can mimic a smile, but it doesn't understand joy. An algorithm can replicate tears, but it doesn't experience pain. That's why storytelling will always be important. It keeps us grounded in who we are." Cruise ended his message with a surprising twist. Looking directly into the lens, he said, "Elon, if you're watching this, I respect your vision. You've done incredible things for the future of humanity, and I admire that. Maybe one day we'll find common ground between art and innovation. Until then, I'll keep doing what I love, and you can keep changing the world your way." The response was immediate. Fans flooded the comment section, praising Cruise for addressing the situation with grace and maturity. Some even admitted they'd underestimated him, assuming he'd stay silent rather than confront the controversy so openly. Meanwhile, Musk took to Twitter just hours later, posting a short but intriguing reply. "Respect. Let's settle this in zero gravity." The tweet included a winking face emoji, leaving fans speculating whether the two men were hinting at a collaboration, or perhaps another showdown, this time in space. Media outlets jumped on the cryptic exchange, running headlines like, "Cruise versus Musk. Is this the start of a truce?" And could Hollywood meet space exploration? Speculation ran wild. Was Musk proposing a joint project involving film and space travel? Could Cruise star in a documentary about SpaceX, or even shoot scenes aboard one of Musk's rockets? Or was this just another clever marketing ploy designed to keep the public hooked? For now, neither man elaborated further, leaving the world to wonder what might come next. But one thing was certain. The clash had evolved from a bitter argument into something far more nuanced, a potential meeting of minds between two vastly different worlds. Whether it would lead to reconciliation, rivalry, or revolution remained to be seen. Behind the scenes, whispers began to circulate about what had really happened during that explosive interview, and it turned out there was more to the story than met the eye. Sources close to the production revealed that Elon Musk had been explicitly warned before the show not to antagonize Tom Cruise. The producers, knowing the delicate balance required for a live TV appearance, had urged Musk to keep his comments lighthearted and focused on shared interests like innovation and adventure. But according to insiders, Musk had brushed off their advice with a smirk, saying, "Let's see where the conversation goes." It wasn't long before details emerged suggesting that Musk's provocations hadn't been entirely spontaneous. A member of the backstage crew claimed they overheard Musk joking with his team moments before going live, saying something along the lines of, "Watch this, I'm going to rattle him." Whether it was a calculated move or simply Musk indulging his penchant for pushing boundaries, the result was undeniable. He had deliberately steered the discussion toward controversial territory. Cruise, on the other hand, reportedly walked off, set immediately after the interview ended. Eyewitnesses described him as visibly frustrated, pacing near his trailer while speaking heatedly on the phone with members of his team. He felt ambushed, one insider said. Tom came there to talk about his movie, not to defend his career against someone who seemed determined to undermine him. Despite his reputation for being unflappable, Cruise appeared rattled, replaying key moments of the confrontation in his head and questioning whether he could have handled things differently. Meanwhile, Musk's SpaceX team couldn't have been happier with how things unfolded. Employees at the company's headquarters celebrated the surge in interest generated by the incident, with internal emails reportedly praising Musk for turning an ordinary TV appearance into a global spectacle. One executive joked during a meeting, "Who needs PR when you've got Elon?" The spike in traffic to SpaceX's website and social media channels was undeniable, with thousands of people curious to learn more about Musk's vision for space exploration. Even NASA allegedly reached out to congratulate Musk on sparking renewed public enthusiasm for interstellar travel. But not everyone viewed the incident through rose-tinted glasses. Some industry professionals criticized Musk for using the platform to grandstand rather than engage in meaningful dialogue. It's one thing to challenge ideas, it's another to mock someone's life work for clicks, said a veteran producer, who wished to remain anonymous. Others defended Musk, arguing that his willingness to provoke tough conversations was precisely what made him such a compelling figure. Love him or hate him, Elon forces us to think bigger, a tech journalist wrote in an op-ed, even if it means stepping on toes. As days passed, speculation grew about whether Musk's actions were part of a larger strategy. Analysts noted that the timing of the interview coincided with major announcements from both men, Cruise promoting his upcoming blockbuster and Musk teasing advancements in AI-driven entertainment technology. Could the entire episode have been orchestrated to maximize publicity? While neither party confirmed these suspicions, the circumstantial evidence was hard to ignore. Despite the tension, there were hints of a thaw between the two camps. Cruise's team reportedly reached out to Musk's representatives to gauge his intentions following the cryptic, zero-gravity tweet. Initial conversations were described as cordial but cautious, with both sides testing the waters for potential collaboration. Meanwhile, Musk hinted at plans to incorporate Hollywood-style storytelling into future SpaceX missions, tweeting, "Imagine watching humanity's first steps on Mars in IMAX." Fans eagerly dissected the comment, wondering if Cruise might play a role in bringing that vision to life. For now, the world watched and waited, unsure whether the rivalry would evolve into partnership or escalate further. But one thing was clear. Beneath the surface of the dramatic showdown lay a complex web of egos, strategies, and ambitions, each thread pulling the narrative in unexpected directions. Months after the explosive showdown, Tom Cruise made an announcement that caught everyone by surprise. In a press conference held at NASA's headquarters, he revealed plans to film scenes for his next movie aboard the International Space Station, ISS. The project, which promised to be one of the most ambitious in cinematic history, aimed to blend cutting-edge technology with raw human emotion, a direct nod to the very debate that had sparked his clash with Elon Musk. "This isn't just a film," Cruise said, standing alongside NASA officials. "It's a testament to what we can achieve when we push boundaries and dare to dream bigger." The announcement sent shockwaves through both Hollywood and the tech world. What made it even more intriguing was the revelation that SpaceX would provide logistical support for the mission. Elon Musk, who appeared via video link during the conference, offered his trademark smirk as he explained how his company's spacecraft would transport cameras, equipment, and possibly even Cruise himself into orbit. "Tom wanted to go where no actor has gone before," Musk quipped. "And I figured, why not help him get there? After all, space is the ultimate frontier, for storytelling too." While the collaboration seemed like a dramatic turnaround given their earlier feud, insiders suggested it was less about reconciliation and more about mutual benefit. For Cruise, filming in space represented the ultimate challenge, an opportunity to prove that human ingenuity and determination still mattered in an age dominated by machines. For Musk, the partnership reinforced SpaceX's role as a pioneer in making space accessible not just for scientists but for artists and visionaries as well. Together, they framed the project as a bridge between two worlds, creativity and innovation. As production began, details trickled out about how the film would combine practical stunts with futuristic visuals. Cruise reportedly worked tirelessly to prepare for the demands of shooting in microgravity, undergoing rigorous training alongside astronauts. Footage released during pre-production showed him floating inside a simulator, laughing as he struggled to adjust to weightlessness. Meanwhile, Musk's team developed custom rigs and robotic arms designed to capture seamless shots in space, ensuring the final product would feel immersive yet authentic. The resulting movie became a cultural phenomenon. Critics hailed it as a groundbreaking masterpiece, praising its ability to merge heart-stopping action with profound reflections on humanity's place in the universe. Audiences were equally captivated, marveling at scenes filmed 250 miles above Earth while connecting deeply with the emotional core of the story. It wasn't just entertainment. It was a reminder of what could be achieved when opposing forces came together for a shared goal. In interviews promoting the film, Cruise and Musk struck a noticeably different tone compared to their infamous TV appearance. When asked about their past disagreement, Cruise smiled diplomatically, saying, "Sometimes you need friction to spark something extraordinary." Musk chimed in, adding, "We may not agree on everything, but we both believe in pushing limits. That's what this project is all about." Though their relationship remained professional rather than personal, the success of the venture proved that rivals could find common ground without losing sight of their individual passions. The film went on to win multiple awards, cementing its status as a landmark achievement in cinema and a symbol of the power of collaboration. In the end, the showdown between Tom Cruise and Elon Musk wasn't just a moment of conflict. It became the catalyst for something far greater. By combining art and technology, tradition and innovation, they reminded the world that progress doesn't have to come at the expense of humanity. It can celebrate it instead. And as the credits rolled on their historic project, fans couldn't help but wonder, what impossible dream would these two unlikely allies tackle next?